Okay. So, has anybody started the project yet? Have you guys started cutting the foam board? Has All right. And um, have you? So you've all turned in your assignment drawing, right? The project, the progress assignment. Okay, if you haven't, you should do that. I'm not gonna like mark you down or anything, but if you haven't turned that in, what that tells me is you're a little behind. So this project is due next Sunday. So you have 6 days to work on it, and which is like, if you think about it, that's kind of a lot of time to work on this project. But if you haven't started cutting foam board yet, you know you're probably behind. Um, okay, so have any of you had trouble cutting the foam board? All right, I see one, I see two, three. Okay, so generally what happens is if you if you have trouble, you're probably using an old blade. So we're all trying to save money and stuff, but if you get like you find an exacto out in the garage and you're like, oh, okay, here's an exacto, I'll use this. This should be it seems sharp. It most likely won't be sharp, right? Okay, so if you're having trouble cutting foam board, it's either the blade or you're holding it at the wrong angle, right? And then the third thing is sometimes people push down too hard, right? Maybe you have little stress built up and you're trying to like take it out on the foam board. So um, there's after you practice a little bit and you have a uh, a nice sharp blade, it should cut in two, maybe three passes, right? So in other words, you'll slice it, there'll be a little more, and you slice through it again, and that's pretty much ideal. If you get really good at it, you should just be able to cut it in one slice, right? Right, and once you do that, you can kind of gauge like how hard you need to press on this. And so I saw there are some drawings that I can't remember who posted them now, but the drawings were, and by the way, everybody that's like sent me stuff through Hangouts, it's all been pretty good. Like, I mean, it's hard, it's normally when we're face to face, I'm there, I can see, I can sort of like adjust it, and the quality of drawings are good. But I didn't know what to expect from doing it online. So um, last semester, I was like, um, I couldn't believe what people were trying to, turn in. There was this very, and part of it was my fault. I didn't really explain it. So I must have explained it better this semester because the drawings have been pretty much on point. And so if you've turned in drawings and you're probably, um, in good shape, and you should probably just start cutting already. And so um, one thing though that I noticed was that there was like not quite enough uh, I saw somebody. I said people in the back. I always like it when people are in the background. It's funny. She's up there.
I'm sorry, that's my mom.
That's okay. Hi, mom. Um, so, um, where were we? So, one thing I noticed with the drawings that um, a few times I've seen it where the project's just sort of stuck in the middle. In other words, it's not off to one side or the other. And it makes the project too symmetrical, and it makes it too what we call static. Static means there's no movement, right? It's just sort of like stuck dead. I have to silence my child. Hold on one second. Jonah. Hey, I'm in a meeting. Jonah. Sorry about that. So, be aware of like, putting stuff right dead center. Okay, so I want to like share screen again and see if I can bring up the drawing. I've done this before, but this time it's just going to take a few minutes because I just want to like talk about oopsie. Okay, so what I want to do is share. Wait, I'm going to bring up the drawing first. How about that? That seems smarter. Where is it? All right. You guys remember this? Okay. So what's been happening is I've seen some drawings where there's I've seen a few like this one where there's a little bit too much space left open, and the corners, which is it's better to leave it too open than to like make it too busy, right? So about right is kind of in this range where you have a combination of weird stuff and you leave an area open. um, you know this one gets a little heavy on this side, right? It's a little too active here. And the other thing that people are doing is they're just kind of leaving their whole um, project and design floating in the square without going off the border, right? So when I say, hey, you should go off the border, this is what I mean, right here, right here. This is called continuance. So when I say, oh, it needs continuance, I mean put a form next to the edge. And of course, what that does is it makes this border kind of like a window frame, as opposed to a border, that's like a picture frame. It's the difference between a picture frame and a window frame. So you want to make it a window frame so that your design just continues on forever. So I know that most of you have been doing that, but there's a few of you that have just been stuck here. And then there's been a few of you that have just put, it's almost like decorations. You've put stuff in the corners and everything has been symmetrical in the middle. So you don't want to do that either, right? Okay, so that's enough of that. All right, so if you have if you have problems, so this is what I would do if I were you. If you have, just go ahead and start cutting. And if you have problems cutting and you just can't, get it to work, then immediately, make time with me or come to the office hours. Oh, by the way, so the office hours have changed, right? And I haven't put it on the calendar, so maybe you should write this down. So the office hours, I was doing separate office hours for all three different schools. And so what I decided to do is make all the office hours available to all the schools. and that way you can come. I'm going to have office hours Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And, you know, if I have a Zoom meeting, it'll all be on the same day. So you'll have a Zoom meeting. So I wouldn't have office hours the same day I have a class meeting, but you can come any other time. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and 8 to 10 in the 8 to 10, no way, 10 to noon in the morning, and 6 to 8 p.m. in the evening. Okay, and I think that'll work. I have to be honest, you guys haven't been on fire about coming to office hours, so I think this will work out okay. And so the office hours are just, you know, they a colleague of mine did a survey, and she asked her students why they don't come to office hours, and several of them, like half of them, said they don't come to office hours because it seems like they're walking into my office and bothering me while I'm working, and which is just it's not true. I'm here with the Zoom on, and I'm waiting here, and nobody shows up, and I'm just playing Angry Birds, and that's it. That's all I do is I play Angry Birds during office hours. So it's a good time just to come by, and you know, I'm not gonna go and, you know, I'm not lonely. But feel free to come by. And with this new format, there's a good chance that you'll run into another student from a different school, right? So I'm just going to have office hours for all three schools, and you're all studying the exact same thing taught by me, just in different places. So it's the same subject matter, but it might be, you know, you might come in and there might be someone from either, well, it'll either be Citrus College or it'll be Long Beach City College, one of the three places. But I'm making myself available to all three of them. And so, you know, you can come in. If there's somebody there during the office hours, just come in and you can eavesdrop and listen or join in to the conversation. And frankly, that's when it works the best, when there's a bunch of brains together looking at the same thing and everybody has suggestions and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so I think that was it. Oh, so nobody had to evacuate, correct? Okay, good. All right. And so just a reminder, the project is due this coming Sunday. Okay, unlike the progress assignment, the project itself, you know, Canvas is so like sort of tinkery, and what happens is when it'll start to take points off, and I don't really, oh, this is what I should tell you about that. So try to turn your projects in on time. If your, you know, if your progress is a little late, that's fine. If it becomes extra late, I start to worry like you're not getting it or you've just sort of checked out. So, but the project, you just definitely don't want to get behind on, because that puts you back for the next project, and then it puts you way back for the next project, etc. And that's just,
I have a question.
I'm sorry?
I have a question. How do you want us to turn in the project?
Okay, it's the same. So to turn in the projects, you go to, here, I'll screen share with you, okay?
Like, is there any format? Like, how do we take the pictures or?
Okay, I'll explain that too. Let me share screen. And then I want to go back to, oh gosh, okay, not that. Um, all right, let's see. Okay, so when you're ready to turn in the assignment, um, under each module, if you go down to like the project one module, you can go down to here, project one, post projects here, okay? So you click on that and blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's see what it looks like if you do it. Submit projects here. There's nowhere to put it. Let me see. I'm going to look at it from your point of view, student view. Project one, post projects here, finished work only. Okay, so you click submit assignment. All right, so you'll upload a file. For project one, it's okay if you just submit pictures. All right, so I would take 4 pictures from every 90 degrees around it, and not just like one from the top, because then I can't really see the volume from you know, like from the top. I can't really see if you even added volume. So make sure that you get like uh, 4 pictures at about 45 degrees angle. And let me see if if there's a better way of explaining that. Okay, so if this is your project, you know, you'll have a picture from here, from here, from here, and then from here. Got it? Okay. All right. And for for most of the projects, you can also just take a picture and upload it, right? Third project, um, the final project though, and try to remember this because I might forget to tell you, but the final project, I would like you to have a couple of photos, but also a short video, like a 10-second video of your final project. And I want you to you know, videotape your project closed and then open, right? So that'll be the only one that you have to take video of, unless I'm looking at your project and I say, hey, I think I need I need a video of that one because it has moving parts or something, right? But for the most part, just document your work, and we'll go by the honor system, but I'm hoping, you know, nobody tries to like, you know, I've had students on purposely take bad quality pictures of their project because they know that the quality of their project was also bad. So they made it on purposely dark or blurry so I couldn't see it. So if your project is, if your photos come out dark and blurry, then I'll just assume that it's you're hiding something, right? Okay. So I'm gonna stop the share so I can see you. So, and I think I mentioned this, um, I've never had to deal with this before, but last semester, someone tried to cheat. And for one of their projects, they actually just, for the origami project, they actually just tried to like take a picture off the internet from Instagram and they turned it in as their own project. Yeah, and don't do that. Um, and the reason, the only reason I found it because they didn't crop out the whole Instagram box, and so this is what happened. I was so um, I was so upset, not because the person tried to cheat. I mean, you know, I have some sympathy for that. I was upset because it was such a stupid way to try it. I mean, like if you're gonna cheat, use your brain. Like make it convincing or something, right? Don't put me in the position where I have to be like, oh, this person's obviously cheating. Cheat better than that, right? Um, that's my advice. That's my advice for today. Cheat better. No, I'm kidding. Don't cheat at all. Um, because it's not just a insult to me, it's really an insult to everybody in the class that's just busting their butt trying to put a good project together, right? And meanwhile, um, you're stealing from Origami-chan 1515 who lives in Tokyo, right? Unbelievable. So um, uh, I figure I'll never have that issue again, but you just never know. You just never know. Okay, so let me open it up to you guys. Do you guys have questions or issues or right?
Yeah, I have two questions.
Sure.
So the first one is like, for the second project, do you want us to get the materials by next week or after after the second meeting we have for that
Oh,
project?
that's a really good question. I would like you to get. I need to post something. Thank you. So what? I would like you to get those materials as soon as you can, and I would like you to be up and running um, as soon as you can this coming Monday. So
Oh,
yeah,
so this week.
yeah. So try to get it ahead of time. You'll have a few days to do drawings and stuff, but I'm gonna also have you do an exercise with the wire before you start the project. And this exercise is you'll need the wire for it. So
So you said you could get all the materials in Home Depot?
yes, you can. So let me see if I have it. Hold on. Okay, so this is the wire that you need to get. And on the project 2 module, if you go down to the project page, or I think maybe I even have it like where it says materials, um, it'll give you the exact SKU number. And this is, it's a Home Depot item, although now other places carry some version of it. But what you don't want to do is get the kind it comes on a square tube, and then it basically is square shape, so that if you're trying to make a straight line, you have to bend the 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 kinks out of it, right? So get this. Go to Home Depot. Get this exact model. Okay, the thing that people ask me all the time is like, oh, I have some like galvanized wire. Can I use that? And the answer is no, you can't. You have to use this wire because what we're trying to do is to emulate a pencil mark on a piece of paper, right? And we're trying to use, so we're using this black wire, and I'm going to ask you to put your projects and stuff, when you photograph it, I'm going to ask you to put it on a white background, kind of like uh, uh, Dom has one, and Rachel has a one, and Julia has one, and Sir has a nice white background. And that's how you're going to photograph it. Okay, so with galvanized wire, it doesn't work, right? Can't see it. Has to be this wire for this project, for a couple reasons.
I have
First,
a question.
hold on. So first, that you can see it, and second is that it's cheap. It's only like $4 for the whole roll, right? And um, and third, it's easy to bend, right? Okay, so you'll get this, and you can also get. You don't have to get the bent kind. These are needle nose pliers that are they're usually straight, so you can get the straight kind. It's probably better anyway. But these have a little wire cutter built in. So if you're gonna get one tool, just get this one, right? And you can bend all the wire. If you run into like Harbor Freight and they have a pair of pliers, these are easier to grip stuff with than the needle nose, just because there's more surface area. And these are diagonal cutters, wire cutters, right? So maybe I'm going to answer your question ahead of time. So if you have all this stuff already, like the wire cutters and the pliers, of course you don't have to buy the exact kind, right? But if you, I would ask you to get the exact wire, but the tools can be any old tools that you find in the garage. Okay? Got it? Simple. Simple.
I just have a question. Since if we're gonna go to Home Depot, there will be a lot of versions of it. Like, for example, what is the length of the one that you have? Like, how long is it?
Okay. So this one, I think it's like 300 feet or 300 yards. It's like a football field length, right? And so, which would be 300 feet, right? So that's this one. And okay, here, this is good information. This is good. Here's a good life lesson. So if you go into Home Depot and you're looking for the wire, okay, the thing you do is you look around for the oldest person you can find that works there. Trust me on this one. And you find the oldest person, and you go up to him or her and you say, hey, I need rebar wire, and that person will know exactly what you're talking about, right? It must be generational. I don't know what the problem is, but if you ask anybody that's like in their 30s for rebar wire, they'll just look at you with a blank stare and they'll send you to the wrong department, in general. There's no absolutes, right? But
Okay.
yeah, those, let me see those
Hold
again.
on. Wait, wait. Uh, this one. Wait. Oops.
Yeah, okay, those are line pliers and those will work, right? Because they have,
These are okay.
yeah, that's fine. They should
Okay,
work.
and I have these.
Perfect.
And,
Yeah, those
okay.
are definitely good. Nice handle on it too, so that'll work.
But
Um,
it's my father.
okay, so go to Home Depot, look for the oldest guy there, ask him for, um, uh, if he's really super old, like 80s, then you ask for baling wire for baling stuff, right? But if he's just old, then it's rebar wire. Okay, got it? All right. And you can't miss. So they'll send you to the building, building supplies, which are, you know, if you go to the Home Depot in Monrovia, then if you walk in, the building supplies are to the left, and it's on the wall that's to the left. And if you go to the one, no, you wouldn't go to the one in Long Beach, but anyway, it's usually in a cabinet that's not lit, so you can't see it at first. You just kind of have to reach your hand in there and sort of like guess, but it's not that bad. But building supplies, usually up against the wall in a wooden cabinet. Okay. Okay.
I have another question for the wire. Since I didn't know that there's another kind of wire because my father only knows the gray one. I don't know what it's called in English, but I just call it like a gray wire.
Yeah.
It's pretty sturdy.
Okay.
What is it called?
Probably galvanized wire,
Oh,
or
just galvanized.
yeah, but don't use
It's
that.
pretty sturdy. Oh, don't
Yeah.
you? Oh, okay.
The problem is it's too sturdy and it's too hard to bend. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so that's galvanized wire.
Yeah. So
Got it.
use this is just regular. They also call it tie wire.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't do that anymore.
Then that's bendable. Like it bends.
Yeah, it's really bendable.
Oh,
Yeah, and you can twist it and stuff, and you kind of almost work it with your fingers. But
oh, gotcha.
okay.
In
Thank
the
you.
in the material list, you said we need a white artboard. Is that for the white background, or do we need to get them?
Okay, so the white artboard is nice, um, and I forget where I put that on there, but you could use it for a cutting mat also for, you know, project one if you needed to. But it also creates a perfect working surface for this wire project. Okay, so if you have a table that's like light colored and you can see the wire okay, you don't need to get it, right? You don't have to go spend your money on it. But if you have like this table's black, and it would be a nightmare to do this project on it without that illustration board. So it's sort of optional, but if you don't have like a nice light surface, then I would definitely get it. And it's also nice for me when you take a picture of it to have it on a white background.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Is that it?
I just have a simple question for the first project. Do you have a tip or something for cutting like round shapes, like circles? Because I find it really hard to cut circles, but the linears are easier to cut.
Right. That's another good one. The problem is, you know, when we're face to face, I have circle cutters, but
Oh,
this is kind of what you have to do. I'm going to draw on a Sharpie so you can see. Okay, so with your X-Acto knife, you just have to get as round as you can, right? Get it as round as possible, and then you cut the like corners off so that it's kind of like an octagon, right? And then you get your sandpaper and you can sand it perfectly round, right? So what I've seen people do is they just get something round and they trace it and they cut as close as they can with the X-Acto knife. And then once they have it pretty close with the X-Acto knife, they just take like a wooden block and some sandpaper and they sand the edge down so that it's perfectly round. See what I mean? Okay. And even when we're face to face, students have to do this anyway with small circles because we don't have a circle cutter small enough, right? But I've seen some pretty adventurous, like one guy took like a steel pipe, or it was like a copper pipe, and he just sharpened the edge of the pipe and then used a hammer like a punch and just punched it so that it would actually punch out a perfect circle, right? So that that kind of stuff I really appreciate. If you're able to make your own tools to make your own shapes, that's pretty amazing. I've seen somebody try to use a cookie cutter and sort of pound it, and that did not work. So it just it just mashed.
Or like heating up the cookie cutter works. Like just put it on fire, make it hot.
Let's see, burn it.
They're like flammable.
It's flammable, yeah. So
Oh.
it'll burn up. But I've seen people try to take their project in to have it like a laser cut. And
Oh yeah, I was gonna do that, but I'm afraid that it might like burn up.
it will burn up. It still works. Like it'll cut, and it cuts pretty clean. Except for what happens is it makes a brown mark everywhere it cuts. Right? It makes a little burn mark everywhere it cuts, and it's very obvious that you didn't cut it yourself. You used a cutting machine. I suppose you could take it in and have it like jet cut, but then you're using water on it, and then it'll get the paper wet, right? So then you'll have like a big mush of mess. So that won't work. You just have to cut it yourself.
Or about hot wires.
Hot wire will work on the foam part, won't work on the paper part. Yeah. But I have to say, I like that angle. Like I like the idea of completely using a different process. But I have to tell you ahead of time that won't work. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the only thing that works is like if you can get like a saw, like a fine coping saw, or a jeweler's like what do you call them? What's the jeweler saw? I forget what that's called.
I thought it was just called a jeweler saw.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
There's another word. It's the shape of it. It's a frame. It's a frame saw. A frame saw. So you could use a frame.
C-frame?
You could use
A
a frame saw or a
hacksaw?
coping. What's that?
Like a hacksaw? Or like it looks like a small hacksaw?
Kind of. It's like a hacksaw except for the blade's tiny
Yeah.
and the throat.
I've used
the
them before.
throat is-
Yeah, but it looks like a baby hacksaw with a
Yeah,
really thin.
kinda.
Yeah.
Right. So you can use that to cut like curves and stuff, and then sand the edge nice and smooth. So if you want to get details and stuff, you can do that. And so yeah, Julia.
Do you have advice about like what kind of grit to use?
True. Yeah. So you can use all the way down to 80. 60's way too rough, and 80's pushing it. So I would say between 80 and 120. And when you get to 220, then you're smoothing it instead of sanding it, which is a whole different. You don't need to do that either, right? So between 80 and 120. But that's a good question. You know what's really good is the what's it called for your fingernail?
Like a emery board?
Memory board.
Was file?
A nail file?
Nail file, yes. Emery board was what I was trying to think of, but I can never think of it. Dom, yeah.
So for like volume, for the height, is there a limit for how?
There is, yeah. And that limit is 1.5 inches, right?
Okay.
So that's not that tall. So what the subtext is that you should max that out. So
Yeah.
you should max it out. And because the whole idea of the project is going from 2D and then making a 3D object as 3D as possible. So
Okay.
in this case, 3D as possible just means 1.5 inches. So yeah, yeah. Wow, these are good questions. This morning, there were frankly horrible questions. But you guys are good.
We've got a little more sleep on them, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. See, you guys can sleep in. That's what it is. They're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that should be it. That went actually longer than the morning class. Um, so I'll just first encourage you. You know, first of all, just stay home. No, don't go to riots or anything. Just stay home, and you know, be safe. And um, it's 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 crazy, and we're all, you know, I'm fairly happy being alone and like being in my, just stuck in my garage and working on my stuff. It makes me, in a way, I couldn't be happier. But even now, I'm starting to get a little crazy. So if I'm getting crazy, I know that a lot of other people are also getting crazy. But what I'm just saying is just hang in there. And if you can work it, if you can make this construct in your head that this class is just sort of a way to distract yourself from all the other craziness, then you're on the right track. Okay, then the other thing is, you know, feel free to come by office hours and keep in touch. And I want to ask you guys that showed up here to I don't know how to ask you this without sounding like a coach, but I'm just going to ask you guys to sort of take the lead and post your work on the discussion board, right? And then when someone posts their work, then, you know, at least a couple of you to like go ahead and start a conversation and get some you know, give your classmates some feedback. You don't have to go on and on for pages for each person. Just pick a couple people and just see if you can give them helpful criticism. And
So you mean you want us to post like works even if we didn't finish?
absolutely, yeah. So post stuff in project, you know, sketches and you know, little mock-ups or maquettes, anything like that, so that people can take a look. And so remember, this class, it used to be called Materials and Process. So the process is an important part here. And I want everybody to see everybody else's process. And so, yeah, progress pictures, especially, and sketches. And you know what's really, really helpful is when you screw something up and it like falls apart and breaks on the floor. If you take a picture and show it to everybody, then maybe they won't make the same mistake, right? And so, or if you use the wrong kind of adhesive, you know, on one of the other projects, and the thing like, you know, disintegrates or whatever, then that's something you should definitely post. Trust me, I would never even consider a dream of like marking you down for something like that. And I don't even know why people would think that anyway. But any kind of mistakes you make, you know, you're learning. And so, you know, we can get everybody to learn as well. Okay. Okay. So be safe and keep in touch. And I will see you guys. I'll see you guys next Monday. So turn your project in Sunday and I'll see you Monday. Okay. Okay. Bye.
I have a question.
Bye, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. Who had the question?
Bye.
Oh, me.
Oh, go ahead.
So the foam board hasn't like arrived yet. It's like a bit late right now
Oh, okay.
for me.
All right. Where are you?
Oh, Pasadena.
You're in Pasadena?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's
I
make.
don't know when it will arrive. So yeah, I'm kind of like worried because it's like pretty near the deadline.
Okay. So you do you know where Blix is? If you're in Pasadena, right? So
Yeah.
you go to Blix, they have it in stock. I was just there. So
Oh, I checked online. It actually isn't. Like when I bought it, it's just like it isn't. Like the link you posted in the modules.
okay. So you purchased it already. You're just waiting for it. Is
Yeah,
that-
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this is what I would do. I would because you don't have to get very much of it. I would just go to the store in person and get a little bit to start with, and then hopefully your foam board will arrive. I thought I asked everybody if they had their materials, but
I think
maybe
I wasn't at that meeting. I was like a bit late.
okay. So I would just do that then. I would just like go, and if you have trouble, like if you went and they didn't have it, then we can connect and I'll get you some to start with. You know, it might be beat up and some stuff I have outside, but at least you could get started cutting it. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So Professor, I'm not sure if you have time, but I want you to kind of comment on my project that I've done right now.
Okay.
I'm pretty much done with it.
Oh, all right. Great. Hi, Julia. Bye, Julia. Are you leaving?
Hi. Yes.
Okay. See you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So-
Sorry I have the mask on. I'm at work.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
See,
See
take
you
care.
later.
I'm not sure if you could see it.
Wow, you're done.
Almost. So I just want to add a little more volume on this shape, like both sides.
Right,
Like,
right.
do you think it's better for me to add some more smaller shapes right here? Or do you want me to just leave it blank? Because I feel like this side is pretty busy and I want to make this side kind of like less busy. But the thing is that most of my shapes are big.
Right. I feel like it's done. I wouldn't even add.
Volume on this one. But like, I think like if I don't add volume on this one, it looks kind of flat.
Let me see it from an angle. Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Oh, okay, got you. All right, I see. Okay, maybe like
That's why I was asking for like tips to cut like round, because this shape is really hard to cut for me. It took me
right.
like a couple of tries.
You know what you
It's
could
really hard to get.
do is
Like,
you don't have to cut the exact same shape. You could just cut like little like slivers that are the same angle, right? Just
yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Like,
and
add
then
a
just
couple more.
right, but like okay, I'm gonna draw it. Can you let me see it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you have that's not very good. You have this, right?
Yeah.
So maybe what you could do is cut like a
Mhm.
tiny sliver like this,
And
very,
then add it on.
and just add it on like a fence, right? And
Yeah.
that'd be nice because it would just add a shadow that's deep, right? And
And then, do you think I should add like just a couple of layers, or just add it all the way to like the 1.5
no.
inch?
I would add 2 more layers at the most.
2 more layers.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking too, like 3 layers.
because you don't want it the full thickness of the other ones. Just
Mhm.
maybe half as much, right?
Yeah, because I also made this organic shape, like kind of less than this.
Okay. And then it's hard to tell, but it looks like your cuts are nice and clean. So,
Yeah, it took me so much time to like cut the shapes, especially like this shape right here, the L.
uh-huh.
I had to cut like 40 of them.
Right.
Yeah, and I still have some leftovers
Right.
that
You know
I
what
just
I like about
just
your,
in case.
it looks like, it almost looks like kanji a little bit, like, kanji, like the Japanese lettering,
Oh yeah,
but it's not quite there. So, because if you use kanji, that would be cheating, right? Like if you use
yeah,
lettering,
that's like symbol.
it's a symbol, right?
Yeah,
And but yours is like borderline. It's almost like the way it's placed.
yeah. I was trying to make kind of like a shape, but they're all like the L. But I
Uh-huh.
just arrange them so it looks like kind of like a weird shape.
Yeah, I like it. It looks like a little bit like Arabic writing, also.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Kind of
But,
looks like a new language.
right. But anyway, I think that that's that's completely. I think it's done.
It's done.
Add a little
So,
bit.
so you don't think I should add anything else like on this side? Like, this part is kind of empty.
No, so the empty is like you have to.
It's
I
fine,
think,
right?
yeah, I
Just
think
add 2 more layers on this.
that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
Oh,
since you're ahead of time, ahead of schedule, now if you want for like extra credit, you could do another one and you can go as crazy as you want, right? Because it's right. So you could like all your scraps and you could put them and
yeah, I have a lot of scraps.
so like Han Tang was just saying you could like set it on fire. So or just experiment, but now you're since you're getting close to finished,
Hmm.
I would just really really focus on getting your materials for the next project, but also focus on your like narrative in your project, the
Wait.
narrative. And
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask that. Like, what do you mean by narrative? Do you have to write a story?
you don't have to write a story, but you should have a story, right? So like
Do you have to type it up and include that with our pictures?
no.
Or no?
Mhm. So normally if we were like face to face, I would tell you like, oh, um, we would have a critique and the whole class would sit around and we would like talk about each other's projects, right? And so on the online, it just doesn't work the same way. But what I would do in a critique is I would ask you like, oh, okay, what's the title? How did you get the title? And then you would tell me the story of how the title got there, and hopefully that story is about you, and then somehow that got put into the project, right? So if you have and it could be very very simple, you only have 1 foot by 1 foot to tell a small story, right? So
Mm-hmm.
some people it's simple, it's like, oh, I just there's this artist I like, and the artist, a music artist, and he plays this kind of jazz, and that's my story. And that's all it has to be, right? But it has to like, should work, right? So what some people do is they start with the story first, right? They start with the idea, the narrative first, and then they build the project, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but another thing you can do is you can basically, here's a hack. Here's how to cheat because I'm very, very particular about how people title their work. Um, in fact, I've prepared I have a TED talk that I talk about how to title your work. And I haven't done it yet. They haven't asked me, but when they do, I'm ready. Uh, and the TED Talk is about how people screw up their titles, and they, you know, after seeing so many pieces of artwork and in so many galleries and stuff, I've become very sensitive to like people that title their work poorly, and um, and I can tell if they're being lazy or not, right? So I'll go in, I'll look at the title, and I can immediately tell you if they're lazy or not.
The thing is that I have two titles I already came up with for my sketches, but not this one. Like this one, I'm kind of, I don't know what to title it.
Right. Okay. Here's the trick I was going to tell you about. So, if are you also in Pasadena?
No, I'm in Monterey Park right now.
Monterey Park. Fine. Okay. So, if you um, if you could get a hold of a well, you know what? I don't think there were, anyway, you would get a newspaper. You would open the newspaper to the sports page. You would go to the racing section where they race horses, right? And the horses all have names, right? Okay. If you look, there's usually about 10 races, and for every race, there's usually about 10 horses. And what you do is you just go down the names of horses until you find the perfect title, and it works 95%. Yeah.
Horse names.
Horse names, yeah. So some of my favorite titles have been like a student at Citrus College. I was like, okay, what did you title your, you know, she's doing the same project, right? And so she was like, so I titled this one Pleasant Colony, right? And I was like, Pleasant Colony, that's beautiful. Like, that's so, it's so pleasant, you know? And I was like, where did you get that? And she was like, oh, it's a horse. So I was like, perfect, you know? And the problem is I've been telling people the same thing for so many years that, you know, now that's all they do. And so every once in a while I'll see a similar title, you know, across town. So you have to be aware of that. There's several tricks. Another trick is if you go, you know, like into Home Depot again, and you go to the paint section, and you know where they have all those color samples, right? If you start reading the names on the color samples, they're amazing. You know, somebody sits around and just comes up with titles for color, right? That's such a weird job, you know, but somebody does it, right? And some of those are also interesting titles. And then here's one last trick, and that is to if you the people that are actually the best at titling their work are almost always jazz musicians, right? Because they're in a musical sense, they're playing something non-figurative, right? It's just sound, right? And it's easy to make the connection between this project because you just have shapes. You don't have letters and you know, you can't spell anything out. Just like in music, when you have lyrics, right, they're telling you exactly what the song's about, right? So in jazz, when there's no lyrics, there's no voice, then they have to sort of read into it, you know, a narrative. So that makes their titles very, very interesting and important, right? Because it's that one link, that one sort of clue into what they're talking about. Otherwise, it's just, you kind of like have to feel around for it, right? So they're really like, you know, if I was to hire someone to like do all my titles, I would hire a jazz musician, right? Because they, they're used to putting on language where there wasn't language before. So it's something like, and the irony is like, I don't even really title my work. Like I don't think it's all that necessary to have a title, but the process of going through it is super important for artists to like be able to add a layer of narrative on whatever they're working on, right? So that's the reason for it, and it's doesn't have much to do with 3D design unless you get really really good at it and you're able to like make things, make a project seem, like fatter than it is based on the verbiage that comes out, or make it sort of more dynamic based on what it's called. So in a sense it can be more 3D, but it's just an exercise that, if you study art at all, or even any design, you'll need to figure out how to make that like transition.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Have
you're
a nice day.
welcome.
Well, no,
Nice to
evening.
see you.
See you.
Hi April, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Professor?
I'm doing good.
So I know I haven't done my sketches yet. I have an idea of what I want my project to be. I was kind of drawing on old sketches that I've done, and they never came to fruition. Like they never actually came to be. So and they were sketches that I did in my 31A class.
Oh,
So and it's kind of along the lines of what you're looking for, because we did that in 31A. So I was kind of draw from there. But I mean, I'll still do sketches, but I kind of wanted to give you a idea of what's going on in my head.
okay.
Yeah.
I would like you to turn some things in.
No, I'll do some sketch. I'll definitely, because I can do them really quickly, because I can but I am drawing from like sketches that I had
Okay.
done previously.
Yeah, that's fine with me. And
Like I know this is a little probably too congested, like to like, even I'm gonna do different, like I'm gonna add other types of like designs in there, but I'm like pulling like elements from different things.
right.
So but I will